The Contest Round podcast addresses the boycott. What are your thoughts on the new Marvel Contest of Champions survey? And we have deep dives for Hitmonkey and Tigra. Yes, hello everybody and welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news for Monday. Hello. In the last 4 days, not a huge amount has actually happened in the contest. There's not a huge amount to really cover, but there's a few stories that need to be addressed, brought to the forefront, and as well deep dived a little bit. Do not fret, because there'll probably be lots of content this week with the new updates, side quests, objectives and other things. Does mean for some extensive and fun videos, so do look out for that. But yes, I want to give thanks before we get into the Marvel Contest Champions news to, first of all, YouTube members, to as well Patreons, and as well those that are subscribed on Twitch. Now, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can give a free Twitch sub by following the on-screen instructions. And as well, we're doing a push to 1,000 followers on Twitch. We're up to 779 the last time I checked, so it's getting there, people. Come on and give a follow up on Twitch. That portion of it is free, but obviously a massive thank you to those that help out and support me as a creator by doing Amazon Prime and the Twitch Prime, YouTube members, patrons, and yeah, everything else. And everything else being you, loyal viewer that comes back and supports the channel and me as a creator by watching videos, hitting the like button, subscribing or post notifications on all, and getting involved with the comments section. So thank you very much to all that do that. It is very much appreciated, and thank you for the massive support for May and obviously ongoing. The first newsy type story is to let you know that we have the episode 19 of the Contest Round podcast released. And this one goes into depth about 27.1, so a lot of the updates. So we kind of do a yin and yang. We balance it out with some positive stuff, talking about what's coming on next month or next update, but more importantly, talking about the boycott situation. The episode looks in depth at a lot of things when it comes to the situation of a boycott. One thing that we wanted to do is not belittle, undermine, or be rude to anybody that is in that boycott. Whether or not you support a boycott or not, for whatever reason, the fact is we are all members of the same community, and that's something to really stress. But the main thing to really mention about this is it boils down to a lot of communication and what has led up to these guys wanting and feeling the need that they want to boycott and what it actually stands for. Those are the things you wanted to look in depth at, and as well whether or not the feedback loop when it comes to information from there, was it presented into the general feedback forum post, which was put out about 4 weeks ago. So that's something that will be interesting to see how next week plays out, with a lot of the stuff being answered. It's very in-depth. I have time coded it for those that want to watch on YouTube, and yeah, we'll probably pick it up in the next week. I've heard some good feedback from that podcast so far, so you know, if you want to check it out and give it a listen, SoundCloud links as well as Spotify and everything else are in the descriptions below. Next up, and a very interesting Tigra deep dive has come out, except for the fact we still haven't decided how this works when it comes to this. Is this Tigra or Tigra? I mean, I'm just going with this is a tiger, so Tigra. But that's a problem at the moment. I think people are a bit unsure about the name. In any case, this deep dive is very interesting. There is a Hitmonkey one we're going to talk about in a minute. It is fantastic to see a lot of the kind of the makeup and build, especially as the tactics around playing certain champions, from the way fundamentals around the rupture ability, how that works, neutralize, which looks to be really handy against champions that have unstoppable, and as well completely shutting down the likes of Thing as well as several others. We even saw the unstoppable from Annihilus as well. I like the miss build to that. I think that could be quite fun. In this particular video, I think Dave briefly takes the champion up against the Collector, so that's still something that's pretty cool. The idea of kind of like throwing miss to take on things like unblockable projectiles and things like that could be quite handy for the Grandmaster, if that is indeed the case, that this would be a viable usage against that. Same thing with Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey looks pretty cool. The kind of scheme builds, damage output when it comes to critical bleeds, the way that obviously damages work from switching into different types of things like Assassin's Cunning. There's a lot to this that meets the eye. It's very interesting to learn a bit more about these characters. even from a point of like, you know, Dave doing this as opposed to like a CCP review. It's worth checking out both videos, so go down to the description or down below. Next up, and let's talk about Alliance tickets, something that has now been updated, something that didn't work when it was released out to players. So basically it's been changed to the following. So we're in the process of developing a system where the cost of all battle groups are split across all the summoners taking part in Alliance quests, regardless of what map they are running. For example, an Alliance that runs one battle group of map 7, 30 tickets to enter, and 2 battle groups of map 5, free entry, will split the cost of 300 tickets by 30, meaning each summoner will pay 10 tickets for that day of Alliance quest. So in a nutshell, each battle group will divide the total cost by an additional 10, regardless of how many are running the map, divided by the number of battle groups, obviously times 10. Unfortunately, the system can't be changed from how it's going to be put in until August, which, man, it's a very weird thing. Something we did talk about in a podcast yesterday is the extent of time it takes to develop X, Y, and Z. And obviously, if it's going to take 2 months to do this, then when it comes to the general feedback, which is obviously going to be answered either this week or it's going to be next week being the last point that it's got to be that we've got time frame to be answered before everyone loses their mind. The fact is, how long will it take to develop certain other things when it comes to, say, well, you know, Act 6 champion boss to be changed, Act 6 gating system, if that is going to be changed. Maybe it's something where new game modes are going to be put in. You know, how long is that going to take to develop? How is this or that going to be taken to develop? And that's the thing. If it's going to take 2 months to do this slight and small thing, then it's going to be very much a long process to get a lot of the stuff that we want seen in the future. And even with this, I don't know if people were largely disagreeing with the fact or unhappy with the fact that it was the time or it was the mode itself when it comes to, say, like the way that the system works. I understand there will be some that this system and the way it's put together won't work for how they want to see it, and let's hope that in the future there could be something. For me personally, I don't like Alliance Quest. I feel that a dramatic change would be good, especially because it's been there for what, 4 years? And I always think that if you've got the same thing there for 4 years, it's something that stagnates and it's just the same and it's boring, it's repetitive. Some people like regularity, some people don't. But obviously that's just my thought, that I would like to see something completely different from Alliance-based questing point of view. That's maybe not quite like how it's seen now, but it's very different in its mode. I thought I'd jump to a lot of the responses when it comes to, like, well, what people actually thought about that particular forum post. There's some people that have mentioned about, like, you know, well, it's still all about attacking those loaders, and as well the fact is when it comes to very marginalized or partial alliances and how this kind of situation will affect them. BK responding back saying it will be divided by 10 number of battle groups, so if you only open 1, then it's divided by 10. If you open 2, it's divided by 20. And responding to another point to say that is a possibility. That is why I called out the announcement that if that becomes an obvious exploitation of the system, we'll move to fix it. Which is basically saying, like, also partial, otherwise full but casual, where 1 to 2 battle groups are really active, would prevent an ally from opening up a BG3 with low map 5, just to reduce cost for their primary BG1 or 2 who do run map 6 or 7, in cases where maybe they'll only run as 2 groups. Even just 10 people doing map 7 opening up BG2 and BG3 with low maps, even though nobody joined those, just to reduce map 7 cost for the 10 primary members who run it. So it's basically talking about there's targeting and a potential exploitation in the future. Thoughts on Alliance tickets? Put it in the comment section down below. Next up, and let's look at the MCOC survey 2020. Now, this is very important. This is something that's been created by the community, and as well, this has got backing from a lot of people. Ultrux has backed this, I've backed this on Twitter, and so many others within the community. Last time I checked yesterday, I had 1,500 people that had entered information, and I will be doing this a bit later on. Now, this particular survey is created by players for players, but as well, this information will be sent back to Kabam. This is not created by Kabam, but this does give a very good example as to what would be good for Kabam to do to gather feedback and information when it comes to making improvements and understanding elements of where they're failing when it comes to Marvel Contest of Champions. Important feedback loops, structured feedback loops, which go against different things, talking about your current prestige, which again is quite important because it looks at limitations. It also looks at the way you're getting information and communication. And that's the way that obviously Kabam could then look to then speak to people, whether or not they do that via the Kabam forum, YouTube, Reddit, you know, those kind of things. And lots of information there. It could go further, but the fact is this is a good start and something Kabam should really consider. A survey like this would work out really well, especially when it comes to doing something every 6 months, because it's a nice round number, half through the year, gives you an idea of where the game is kind of like maybe losing touch, maybe going a little bit kind of like off, and bringing it back down for people to really look at. There's a lot more that could be done with this, but obviously do bear in mind the people that are putting together this information are members of the community. They're not a multi-million-dollar company that should be doing a lot of this stuff themselves, and I hope that Kabam can see this and as well you know, take it very seriously, because it can be really helpful to the developer and the player to show that nice little integration. See, synergizing. And now on to our final story, which is arena predictions and results. So my predictions for round 2 are down below. I've gone slightly higher when it comes to Red Guardian, Leviosa, which did indeed Leviosa and go a lot higher than what I thought it was going to be round 1. The 4-star went slightly lower than I thought it was. So that's just how it works. Sometimes, you know, you can get an idea, sometimes not so much. Right, so starting off with the 4-star version of Red Guardian, picked up for 11.8 mil. That's one the round 2. I've gone for 12.5 mil for this. Obviously, 11.8 mil was a position of 764. That's the highest I can find so far. Next up, and this player claimed to get position 139 with 77 mil. Now, I do think that this will be a good starter. Putting up about 80 mil is going to be the safe bet with this. Obviously, it's up to you how much you put in close to that marker, but if you want position 139, this round 1 got you 77 mil. Those that want Red Skull, 1.587 mil. I'm sure this will go close to 1.5, but yeah, 1.6 mil is probably going to get you the Red Skull if you're interested. And there we have it. That has been Marvel Contest of Champions news for Monday. Not a lot of spicy stories, but there will be some better content coming on this week with new objectives, guides, and as well, obviously, that new MCOC event coming in, as well as obviously the main event. Thanks for watching this video. Check out some fresh content up here. Check out some other content down there. I'll be live streaming on Twitch tonight, so go and check that out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.